So what in the world do high fashion runways have in common with these quiet, serene tea gardens in the Himalayas? Well, you might be surprised. Today, we're diving into an incredible story about radical reinvention, about how decades of expertise in one industry became the secret ingredient for success in a completely different one.
You read that and you can just feel the calm, can't you? This is the promise of Himalayan nectar. It's all about wellness, nature, and just finding your center. It feels so mindful, so intentional. But the story of how this brand came to be, well, it's anything but quiet.
All right, so let's get into it. What exactly is Himalayan nectar? So, Himalayan nectar kicked off in early 2020. They make these beautiful, organic, handmade wellness teas, and they source them right from the Himalayan regions of India and Nepal. But here's the thing that really stands out. Their whole philosophy is built around being ethically farmed and ecologically responsible. So this isn't just about selling tea. It's a real commitment to doing things the right way, from the very first leaf to the cup you're holding. Now, with a brand this thoughtful, you'd think the founder must have spent their whole life in the wellness world, right? Maybe a yoga guru or something. Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. The person who dreamed up this whole serene tea brand is a man named Kaushik Basu. And let me tell you, his journey did not start in a peaceful tea garden. Not even close. It started somewhere much, much faster. This right here, this is from his professional summary before the tea company. He was a seasoned textile/apparel design, sourcing, and merchandising specialist. Yeah, we are not talking about calming tea ceremonies here. We're talking about the cutthroat, high-stakes, fast-paced world of international fashion. A world of fabrics, factories, and trends that change in the blink of an eye. And look, this wasn't just some phase. This was his entire life's work. You can see the progression right here, starting as a merchandiser in the mid-90s and climbing all the way up to division head and head of sourcing for major international companies. He spent nearly 3 decades building a massive career in the apparel industry. This was his world. So, what happens when a career that has defined your entire adult life just stops? Well, that's where a moment of crisis can actually lead to incredible creation. 29 years. Just let that number sink in for a second. Almost 3 decades of knowledge, of contacts, of deep expertise, all focused in one specific industry. And then, in a flash, everything changed. And here it is, in his own words. This was the trigger. The pandemic hits, he loses his job, and boom, he's smacked right in the face with a professional midlife crisis. I mean, this is the moment so many of us dread, right? When the path you've been walking for decades just vanishes from under your feet. But for Kaushik, this absolutely devastating moment, it wasn't the end. It was actually a forced beginning. He'd always wanted to build something of his own, and now he had this totally unexpected and frankly terrifying chance to actually do it. That crisis planted the seed for something completely new. Okay, so this brings us to the real heart of it all. How on earth do you go from sourcing high-fashion clothing to sourcing high-altitude tea? I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On the surface, these two worlds could not be more different. One is all about trends, manufacturing, and speed. The other is about agriculture, wellness, and patience. On paper, it makes absolutely no sense. So how did he pull it off? And here is where it all clicks into place. Just look at this. On the left, you've got the skills from his fashion CV. Things like supplier engagement, product lifecycle management, analyzing market trends. And on the right, the needs of his new tea business. Well, finding ethical tea farms is supplier engagement. Managing production from a leaf to a cup is product lifecycle management. The product changed, but the fundamental skills, they were exactly the same. You see, his real expertise was never just about clothes. It was about product development. It was about sourcing and production. It was about managing incredibly complex supply chains, juggling vendors and making sure quality standards were sky high. These are skills that can work in any industry. They were the perfect bridge from his past to his future. Okay, so this isn't just a cool story about one guy and his tea company. There's a really powerful lesson in here for every single one of us about the skills we have. So often we box ourselves in with job titles, right? We say, I'm a marketer or I work in finance. But Kaushik's story proves that our real value is in the foundational skills that are hiding underneath those labels. That deep expertise you have, it's portable. You can take it with you. So, how can you actually apply this to your own life? Well, here are 3 steps. First, take a good look at your own skills. Forget the job titles for a second. Are you great at negotiating? Do you love building systems? Are you a master at managing projects? Second, start looking around at other fields for problems that your core skills could solve. And third, and this is the big one, reframe your story. That unrelated background isn't a weakness, it's your superpower. It's the unique perspective that no one else in that new room will have. Kaushik Basu took a career woven from threads and reinvented it into one steeped in tea leaves. It leaves us with a really powerful question to ask ourselves. What are the core threads of your own expertise? And what amazing, unexpected new thing could you weave with them?